The contract sat in front of me, $20 million upfront, non-negotiable. Across the table, the same HR director who'd laughed in my face 6 months ago now looked like she might be sick. The same woman who'd said my code wasn't worth a $2 million bonus and that anyone could do this work. Her hands shook slightly as she held the pen. This is an excessive amount for a consultation fee. I leaned back in my chair, completely calm. Then don't sign it. I'm sure one of those anyone people you mentioned can fix your system crash. Oh wait, you've already tried that, haven't you? How many consultants has it been now? 12? 15? The CTO sitting next to her looked like he'd aged 10 years in 6 months. We've lost 4 major clients. We are hemorrhaging $500,000 a day in downtime. Stock price is down 40%. We need this fixed now. Then sign the contract, I said simply. The HR director's face flushed red. You're extorting us. This is unethical. I smiled. Actually smiled. No, what's unethical is denying someone their contractually agreed upon performance bonus, then trying to replicate their proprietary systems without permission. But sure, let's talk about ethics. I stood up and grabbed my briefcase. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, my rate doubles and I take other clients. Your choice. I walked toward the door. Wait, the CTO's voice cracked with desperation. We'll sign. We'll sign now. I turned back. The HR director was already scribbling her signature, each stroke looking like it physically pained her. 6 months ago they told me I was replaceable. Today I was their only hope and I was about to become $20 richer. Before we get into how I ended up in that room, a quick word. If stories about workplace justice and standing up for your value resonate with you, that subscribe button really helps. We just crossed our first milestone together, and now we're pushing toward 2,000 subscribers. Your support keeps these stories coming. Now, let's dive in. My name is Alexandra Hayes, and up until 7 months ago, I was the lead software engineer at Quantum Financial Systems, a fintech company based in Chicago that handled over $15 billion in daily transactions. When people hear lead software engineer, they often think of someone who got lucky or knew the right people, but I earned every line of code that made up my reputation. My background isn't one of struggle. My parents were both educators. My mom, a high school principal, and my dad, a college professor. We were solidly middle class, comfortable but not wealthy. What they gave me wasn't money but something more valuable: perspective. My mom worked in underfunded public schools for 30 years. She saw brilliant kids overlooked because they didn't fit the system's mold. My dad spent his career advocating for first-generation college students, fighting for people the institution wanted to ignore. They taught me to see people, not just roles, to understand that every janitor, every secretary, every entry-level employee had a story, had value, had dignity that deserved respect. That empathy shaped how I led my teams. I remembered names. I asked about families. I understood that the person debugging code at midnight had a life outside those office walls. But that same empathy made me dangerous to people who saw employees as interchangeable parts, people who thought compassion was weakness. People like Vanessa Ortega, the HR director, who was about to learn the most expensive lesson of her career. 4 years ago, Quantum Financial Systems had a problem. Theirs was built on legacy code from the 1990s, unstable, slow, and vulnerable. In the rapidly evolving fintech world, they were falling behind fast. Competitors were processing transactions in microseconds. Quantum took 30 seconds. In high-frequency trading, that might as well be a lifetime. They were losing clients weekly, and worse, they'd had 3 security breaches in 18 months. Small ones contained quickly, but the pattern was clear. Their infrastructure was failing. The board gave the CTO an ultimatum: fix it in 12 months, or we're selling the company for parts. That's when they hired me. I wasn't their first choice. I was their 15th. 14 other engineers had looked at their codebase and walked away. Too complex, too risky, too likely to fail. But I saw something they didn't. Under all that outdated was a clever foundation. The original developers had been brilliant. They just hadn't had the tools or frameworks we have now. I can rebuild this, I told them in the interview, but I need complete autonomy, an unlimited budget for tools and infrastructure, and a significant performance bonus tied to measurable results. The CTO, Raymond Chen, was straightforward. What kind of bonus are we talking about? $2 million if I deliver a system that meets these benchmarks. Transaction processing under 5 seconds. 0 security breaches for 12 months post-launch, and uptime of 99.95% or better. Raymond didn't blink. You hit those numbers, the money's yours. I'll put it in writing. And he did. I had it in my contract, black and white, signed by Raymond, the CFO, and witnessed by HR. I delivered in 10 months. The new system didn't just meet the benchmarks, it obliterated them. Transaction processing? I got it down to 1.2 seconds. Not 5 seconds, 1.2? Security? I implemented a proprietary encryption algorithm I developed in grad school, combined with real-time threat detection AI. Fort Knox had nothing on our setup. Uptime? We hit 99.98% better than industry leaders. Within 3 months of launch, clients who'd left started coming back. Within 6 months, we'd landed contracts with 3 Fortune 500 companies who'd never considered us before. Revenue doubled in the first year, doubled again in the second year. Quantum went from struggling mid-tier fintech company to industry innovator. Tech magazines wrote articles about our revolutionary transaction processing system. Our stock price tripled. I'd saved the company. More than saved it, I'd transformed it. And I'd done it while building and mentoring a team of 12 engineers, most of them junior developers I'd personally trained, while maintaining a culture of respect and collaboration, while making sure nobody burned out or sacrificed their personal lives unnecessarily. My team was loyal, skilled, and happy. Turnover was 0. Productivity was off the charts. Everything was perfect until the bonuses were supposed to pay out. Year 3, I submitted my performance bonus claim. $2 million as contractually agreed, contingent on benchmarks I'd exceeded by every measure. I wasn't worried. The metrics were clear, the contract was ironclad, this was a formality. 2 weeks later, I got called into a meeting with Vanessa Ortega, the HR director. Vanessa was new to Quantum, brought in 8 months earlier from a large consulting firm. She had a reputation as a cost optimization expert, which is corporate speak for finds ways to pay people less. I'd never liked her. She had this way of talking about employees like they were budget line items to be minimized, but I'd avoided direct conflict until now. Her office was cold and sterile, she didn't offer me a seat. Alexandra, we've reviewed your bonus claim, and we're denying it. The words hit me like ice water. Excuse me? Vanessa pulled out a folder. Your contract states the bonus is subject to company performance and financial viability. Given our current restructuring initiatives, allocating $2 million to a single employee isn't financially prudent. Restructuring initiatives. The company's revenue has doubled. Stock price has tripled. What restructuring? We're investing heavily in expansion. Capital needs to be allocated efficiently. I kept my voice level. The contract doesn't say subject to expansion plans. It says I get the bonus if I hit the benchmarks. I hit them, all of them. This isn't discretionary. Vanessa smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. We disagree with that interpretation. Additionally, we've had our technical team review your code. Frankly, there is nothing revolutionary here. Anyone with your experience level could have built this system. We don't feel it warrants a $2 million premium. I stared at her, genuinely shocked. Anyone could have built this. 14 engineers walked away from this project before me. I delivered in 10 months what previous teams said would take 3 years if it was even possible. That's your perspective. Our assessment differs. Your assessment? Who exactly on your technical team is qualified to assess my work? That's not your concern. The disrespect was staggering. 3 years of 60-hour weeks, 3 years of innovation and leadership, 3 years of transforming this company from failing to thriving, and this HR director who'd been here 8 months was telling me my work wasn't valuable. I want to speak to Raymond, I said. Raymond is aware of this decision and supports it. That stopped me cold. Raymond, who'd shaken my hand and promised me that bonus, who'd told me I'd saved his career when the system launched successfully. He knows you're denying my contractually agreed bonus, and he's okay with it. We're making a sound business decision. How you respond is up to you. I walked out of that office shaking, not with fear, with rage. 3 years. 3 years of loyalty, of innovation, of going above and beyond, and this was how they repaid it. I went straight to Raymond's office. His secretary tried to stop me, but I walked right past her. Raymond looked up from his computer, startled. Alexandra, I'm in the middle of did you approve denying my bonus? He had the decency to look uncomfortable. It's complicated. No, it's really not. We have a contract. I met every condition. You owe me $2 million. Raymond sighed and gestured for me to close the door. Look, I wanted to pay you. I fought for it. But Vanessa made a compelling case that we need that capital for expansion, and the board agreed. My hands are tied. Your hands are tied? You signed that contract? And if the company was in the same position it was 3 years ago, absolutely the bonus would be no question, but we're in growth mode now. Priorities change. Priorities, right. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So now that the crisis is over, now that I've saved the company, suddenly I'm not worth the investment. That's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you're saying. When you needed me, I was worth a $2 million promise. Now that you don't think you need me anymore, the promise doesn't matter. Raymond's expression hardened. Be careful, Alexandra. You're a valuable employee, but you're not irreplaceable. This is a business decision, not a personal attack. Not irreplaceable. The same thing Vanessa had implied. Anyone could have done this work. You're right, I said quietly. This is a business decision. So, here's mine. I pulled an envelope from my bag. My resignation letter drafted the moment I left Vanessa's office. I quit, effective immediately. 2 weeks' notice as per my contract, but I'm using my accrued vacation time, so today is my last day. Raymond's face went pale. Alexandra, let's not be hasty. We can discuss. There's nothing to discuss. You made a business decision. I'm making mine. Your team needs you. The system is well documented. My team is well trained, and according to your HR director, anyone can do this work. So, I'm sure you'll be fine. I turned to leave. If you walk out that door, don't expect a recommendation. Don't expect to use us as a reference. I looked back at him. I have a 3-year track record of transforming a failing company into an industry leader. My work speaks for itself. I don't need your recommendation. And I left. The next 2 hours were a blur. I cleaned out my desk, said goodbye to my team, 12 engineers who looked devastated. Jennifer, my second in command, pulled me aside. This is about the bonus, isn't it? I couldn't lie to her. Yeah. They denied it? After everything you did? Apparently anyone could have done it. Jennifer's face flushed with anger. That's insane. You built this entire system. You trained all of us. Without you, without me, you'll be fine. You're brilliant, Jen. All of you are. Just don't let them exploit you the way they exploited me. I gave her my personal email and phone number. If you ever need anything, advice, a reference, whatever, I'm here. She hugged me. So did half the team. The other half looked too shocked to move. I walked out of Quantum Financial Systems for the last time at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. And then, I got to work. That night, I called every contact I had in the industry. Former colleagues, grad school friends, professionals I'd met at conferences. I'm going independent. Consulting, custom software development, system architecture, high-level fintech projects only. Interested in collaborating? Within a week, I had 3 contracts. Small projects, but prestigious clients. Banks and investment firms who'd heard about Quantum's transformation and wanted similar results. Within a month, I'd formed my own consulting firm, Hayes Technologies. Just me and 2 contractors to start, but the work was solid and the reputation grew quickly. Within 3 months, I'd hired 5 full-time engineers. 4 of them were from my old Quantum team who'd gotten so disgusted with the company's direction that they'd quit to join me. Jennifer was one of them. They tried to double our workloads after you left, she told me. Told us we needed to step up and maintain the same productivity with half the leadership. No raises, no bonuses, just more work. I lasted 6 weeks before I couldn't take it anymore. The others had similar stories. Quantum, flush with success but unwilling to invest in the people who'd created it, was squeezing every last drop of productivity out of my former team while giving them nothing in return. Classic corporate short-sightedness. But that was their problem now. I was building something better. A firm where people were valued, compensated fairly, and treated with respect. Business was good. Not $2 million good yet, but steady and growing. Then, 6 months after I left Quantum, my phone rang at 2 a.m. It was Jennifer. She didn't work for Quantum anymore, but she still had friends there. You need to hear this. Quantum system crashed, completely offline. They've been down for 6 hours and nobody can fix it. I sat up in bed, suddenly wide awake. What happened? Nobody knows. The transaction processing system just stopped. Error messages nobody's ever seen before. They've brought in 3 consulting firms and none of them can figure it out. What about the backups? Corrupted, all of them. It's a disaster. Part of me felt vindicated. They said anyone could maintain what I built. Apparently not. But another part of me was curious. I'd built that system to be bulletproof. What could possibly cause a catastrophic failure like this? Thanks for the heads up, Jen. Do you think they'll call you? Not a chance. Their pride won't allow it. I was wrong. At 9 a.m., I got an email from Raymond. Subject line, urgent assistance needed. The email was professionally written, but the desperation leaked through. System down, clients threatening to leave, stock price dropping by the hour. Would I be willing to consult on the crisis? I didn't respond immediately. At 11 a.m., Vanessa Ortega called my personal cell phone. Alexandra, we need to talk. I don't work for you anymore, Vanessa. We don't need to talk about anything. Please, the company is in serious trouble. We need someone who understands the system architecture. I'm sure one of those anyone people who could do my job will figure it out. There was a long pause. I understand you're angry about the bonus situation. The bonus situation where you stole $2 million from me. Yeah, I'm a little angry about that. We'd be willing to discuss compensation for your consulting time. I'm sure you would. Here's my answer. No. I hung up. She called back. I didn't answer. Over the next week, the news got worse. Quantum systems stayed offline. Clients were bailing. The stock price was in freefall. Industry analysts were speculating that the company might not survive. I kept working on my own projects. My firm was growing. I had no obligation to Quantum, no reason to help the people who'd betrayed me. Then I got a call from an unexpected source, one of Quantum's board members, Edward Fitzgerald. Old money, venture capital background, one of the original investors. Miss Hayes, I'm calling because we're in crisis mode, and I've been reviewing what happened with your departure. Little late for that review. I agree. The decision to deny your bonus was short-sighted and frankly unethical. I was traveling in Asia when it happened and wasn't part of the discussion. If I had been, I would have opposed it. That got my attention. Okay. I've looked at your contract. You're legally entitled to that $2 million. The company's excuse was nonsense. I want to make this right. Make it right how? The company's crashing. That $2 million doesn't mean much if Quantum goes bankrupt, which is why I need you to help us fix the system. Not out of charity, as a business transaction. You fix our crisis, we pay you the bonus we owe you, plus significant consulting fees. We rebuild the relationship properly. What kind of consulting fees? Name your price. I thought about it for exactly 5 seconds. $20 million upfront, plus the $2 million in bonus you already owe me, and I want Vanessa Ortega out. Fired with no severance package. Edward was quiet for a moment. $20 million is a substantial sum. Your company is losing $500,000 a day in downtime. You've lost 4 major clients worth hundreds of millions in annual revenue, and your stock price has dropped 40, wiping out billions in market cap. $20 million is a bargain. And Vanessa? Non-negotiable. She disrespected me, stole from me, and clearly doesn't understand how to value the people who make this company work. She goes, or I don't help. Another pause. I'll need to discuss with the other board members. You have 24 hours. After that, I'm accepting a project in Singapore that'll keep me occupied for 6 months. Your choice. He called back in 4 hours. We accept your terms, all of them. Vanessa is being terminated this afternoon. We'll have contracts drawn up immediately. One more thing, I added. The engineers from my old team who are still at Quantum. I want them all to get 50% raises effective immediately and full bonuses that were withheld. They deserve it. Done. 2 days later, I walked back into Quantum Financial Systems, not as an employee, as a consultant whose expertise was worth $20 million. The conference room was full. Edward Fitzgerald, Raymond Chen, 3 other board members, 2 lawyers, and Vanessa Ortega looking like she wanted to murder me. This is extortion, Vanessa said the moment I sat down. $20 million for consultation is price gouging. I set my briefcase on the table. Then don't hire me. I hear there are plenty of people who can do this work. Anyone, in fact. Weren't those your words? Her face flushed red. Edward cut in. Vanessa, you're no longer part of this discussion. Security will escort you out after this meeting. Your termination is effective immediately. The color drained from her face. What? You can't. We can, and we have. Your decision to deny Miss Hayes her contractual bonus has cost this company hundreds of millions of dollars and nearly destroyed us. You're done. Vanessa looked around the table for support, found none. She grabbed her bag and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The room felt lighter immediately. Now, Edward said, sliding a contract across to me, $22 million total. 20 for the consultation. 2 for the original bonus, upfront payment within 24 hours of signature, plus the raises for your former team members. Everything you asked for. I reviewed the contract. My lawyer had already vetted it, but I read every word anyway. It was clean, fair, everything I'd demanded. I signed. All right, I said. Show me what's going on with the system. Raymond pulled up the error logs on the conference room screen. I scanned through them, recognizing patterns immediately. This isn't a system failure, I said after 5 minutes. This is sabotage. The room went dead silent. What do you mean sabotage? Raymond asked. Someone with system access deliberately corrupted the core processing algorithms and planted a logic bomb in the backup protocols. When the system hit a certain transaction volume threshold, it triggered the corruption across all instances simultaneously. Who would do that? I scrolled through the access logs. One name appeared repeatedly in the days before the crash, making changes to code that didn't need changing. Troy Garrison, I read aloud. Who is he? Raymond's face went pale. He's the senior engineer we promoted to lead after you left. He was supposed to be managing the system. Did he work on the original build? No, we brought him in from outside. Vanessa recommended him, said he had experience with similar systems and could replace. He trailed off. Could replace me, I finished. Probably for a quarter of my salary. The pieces clicked together. Vanessa, determined to prove that my work wasn't special, had hired someone cheaper. Someone who either didn't understand the system well enough to maintain it, or worse, actively sabotaged it out of resentment or incompetence. Where's Troy now? He quit 2 days ago, right after the crash. Said the stress was too much. Of course he did. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to rebuild the corrupted sections, which will take about a week. I'll also implement new security protocols so this can't happen again. But you need to file a police report about Troy. This is criminal sabotage. We will, Edward assured me. Whatever you need. I brought in my team from Hayes Technologies, Jennifer and the 4 others who'd left Quantum, plus 2 contractors who specialized in security. We worked around clock for 6 days. The sabotage was sophisticated. Troy had known enough to be dangerous, but he hadn't understood the deeper architecture. He'd corrupted the surface-level processing code but hadn't touched the underlying framework because he couldn't. That framework was based on proprietary algorithms I'd developed. He literally didn't have the knowledge to damage the foundation. We rebuilt the damaged sections, implemented new authentication and access controls, and added monitoring systems to flag suspicious code changes. On day 7, at 3:22 a.m., we brought the system back online. Transaction processing, operational. Security protocols active, backup systems restored and verified, uptime stable. I called Raymond. We're live, start running tests. Over the next 12 hours, Quantum processed 3 days' worth of backlog transactions. Everything ran smoothly, better than smoothly. The new security protocols I'd added actually improved performance. By the evening, Raymond was in my temporary office, looking 20 years younger than when I'd arrived. You did it. Again, you saved us again. I did the job you paid me to do, Alexandra. I owe you an apology, a massive one. Denying your bonus was wrong. Listening to Vanessa instead of trusting you was wrong. I let this company's success make me arrogant and stupid. Yes, you did, he winced. Fair. Look, I know you have your own firm now and you're doing well, but I want to make an offer. Come back as CTO. Name your salary, full equity package, complete autonomy. You rebuild the technical division your way. I considered it. The offer was generous, more than generous. But something had shifted in me over the past 6 months. I appreciate the offer, Raymond, but no. I've built something at Hayes Technologies, a culture where people are valued from day one, not just when there's a crisis, where contracts are honored and contributions are recognized. I'm not walking away from that. Raymond nodded slowly. I understand, but if you ever change your mind, the door's open. There is something you can do for me, though. Name it. The engineers who stayed loyal to Quantum through this mess, the ones on my old team still here, give them real leadership opportunities. Pay them what they're worth, and never ever let another Vanessa Ortega near your HR department. Done. All of it. We shook hands. Before I left, I met with the old team one more time. The ones who'd stayed at Quantum out of necessity or loyalty or inertia. You all did good work during the crisis, I told them. Things together as best you could, that matters. And I made sure you're getting compensated fairly now. But remember, your value isn't determined by whether your employer recognizes it. Know your worth independent of their validation. Hayes Technologies thrived after the Quantum contract. $22 million in capital allowed us to expand rapidly, rented a proper office space instead of working from my apartment, took on bigger, more complex projects. But more importantly, we built our reputation on two principles: technical excellence and ethical treatment of people. Word spread. Engineers wanted to work for us because we paid well and treated them like humans. Clients wanted to hire us because we delivered results and operated with integrity. Within a year, we had contracts with 8 Fortune 500 companies. Within 2 years, we'd opened offices in New York and San Francisco. Jennifer became my CTO. The other engineers who'd left Quantum with me all moved into senior leadership roles. We promoted from within, mentored junior developers, and maintained a culture of respect. As for Quantum financial systems, they recovered. The stock price stabilized, clients came back, and the company continued growing. Raymond implemented real changes: better HR policies, fair compensation structures, respect for technical expertise. Troy Garrison was arrested and charged with corporate sabotage. Last I heard, he took a plea deal and served 18 months. His career in tech was over. Vanessa Ortega tried to sue Quantum for wrongful termination. She lost. The documentation of her decision to deny my bonus, despite clear contractual obligations combined with her role in hiring Troy, made her case impossible to defend. I never heard from her again. The whole experience taught me something crucial about workplace dynamics and personal value. When Vanessa told me that anyone could do this work, she revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of how value works. Technical skills can be replicated, sure, but expertise, real deep expertise that comes from years of experience and innovative thinking, that's rare. The ability to not just write code but to architect entire systems, to anticipate problems before they occur, to build with scalability and security baked in from the start, that's not common. But more than that, she misunderstood leverage. When you're an employee, the company holds most of the leverage. They can deny bonuses, change terms, make your life difficult. You're fighting from a position of relative weakness. But when you're a consultant with specialized expertise and they're in crisis, the leverage flips completely. Quantum could have paid me $2 million when they owed it to me. Instead, their arrogance and short-term thinking cost them $22 million, plus whatever they lost in downtime, client relationships, and stock value. The math wasn't complicated. Respect and fair dealing would have been cheaper. But beyond the money, there's a deeper lesson about knowing your worth. For 3 years, I'd tied my value to Quantum's recognition of it. When they denied my bonus, it felt like a denial of my entire contribution. But the truth is, my value existed independent of their acknowledgement. The systems I built worked. The innovations I created were real. The skills I possessed were rare and valuable. Whether Quantum recognized that or not didn't change the reality. Once I understood that, truly internalized it, everything changed. Today, Hayes Technologies employs 43 people across 3 offices. We're on track to clear $50 million in revenue this year. But the metrics I'm proudest of aren't financial. 0 turnover in leadership positions, employee satisfaction scores in the 95th percentile, a reputation as one of the best places to work in tech. We pay people what they're worth from day one. We honor our contracts. We treat everyone with respect, from our senior architects to our office manager. Because I learned the hard way what happens when companies forget that their success is built on people, not just systems and processes. The original team from Quantum, the ones who came with me and the ones who stayed, all ended up in good places. Some still work for me. Some went on to start their own firms. Some took leadership roles at other companies. But we stay in touch. We support each other. And we share the same philosophy. Never let an employer make you forget your value. As for me, I still code, still solve complex problems, still build systems that transform how companies operate. But now I do it on my terms with full recognition of my value and zero tolerance for exploitation. The $22 million dollars from Quantum, best money I ever made. Not because of the amount, but because of what it represented. Validation, vindication, and proof that standing up for yourself, even when it's terrifying, is always worth it. Vanessa Ortega told me anyone could do my work. 6 months later, I proved that nobody could do it like me, and I made them pay, literally, for learning that lesson the hard way. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had your contributions undervalued or had to fight for recognition you'd earned, consider subscribing. These stories matter because they remind us we're not alone in these struggles. Your support helps this channel grow and brings more workplace justice stories. Thanks for being part of this journey toward 2,000 subscribers.